Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Farzetta. This right here is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful. It's plain wonderful to have you along for the ride. Where are you at right now as far as confidence that the Philadelphia Phillies pull out a victory today? Where are you right now as far as confidence in the Phillies pulling out a victory in general in the NLDS against the New York Metropolitans? I have talked myself into feeling good about going into tonight's game. Either way, I unfortunately think this is going 5 games. I think Aaron Nola reaches into the bag tonight. And I think he reaches deep down into the bag, and I think he pulls out an ace performance. I have a great feeling, and there is no scientific evidence to support this. In his last start against the Mets, Aaron Nola got rocked in the regular season, but that was then, huh? And this is now. This is the postseason, baby. This is for all the marbles. I have talked myself into, and I spent a lot of time doing this yesterday. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. And I was really examining this because I have very little feel for this Phillies team. And I think that can be said for a lot of us because I think we're either going to be looking at a feast or famine type of situation over the next 2 games where the offense could break out again and they could be fantastic and they could put up another 7-run performance. You know, you could certainly have that from this Phillies offense. We've seen it before. We've seen it at Citi Field, although brief. We've seen Aaron Nola pitch phenomenally well against the Mets, and then we've seen him terrible against the Mets. Literally, you could say his best and his worst starts of the season were against the New York Mets this year, months apart. Sean Manaea obviously goes for the Mets. He has had a up and down year against the Phils, and he has had 3 starts against Phillies this season. It's going to be a very interesting game as far as the starting pitching goes tonight. 5:08 start time, by the way. I know that's abnormal, but it's going to be a very, very interesting game as far as the starting pitching goes tonight. Phillies facing the lefty. You have home runs already in the back pocket from some of these Phillies hitters. Nick Castellanos being one of them. Kyle Schwarber being another against Sean Manaea, and the last time they faced him during the regular season. So I spent yesterday really trying to search for a feel. And yesterday I had to do a TV hit with our friends at CBS 3. Don Bell, kind enough to asked me to come on. And I'm talking to him about this game. And I'm talking to him about confidence level and all that and what I need to see from this team. And the number one thing is, it starts with pitching. So I need to see Aaron Nola go out there and do his thing. I need to see Nick Castellanos be the leader in this lineup, be a hot hitter that he has been, and the most consistent Phillies hitter that they've had for 5 months now. Now the postseason's begun. That's what I need to see. I need to see the bullpen turn around. Those are 3 things I need to see. I need to see Nick Castellanos keep it going. Alec Boehm's going to be back in the lineup tonight. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this game just as far as whether or not you're trying to build up excitement for it. Or not excitement, but confidence in this game. So we'll get to that conversation. The Eagles. Oh, my goodness gracious. Help is on the way, dear. Help is on the way. Devontae Smith coming back. A.J. Brown coming back. Lane Johnson coming back against the Cleveland Browns, who the Washington Commanders just took it to over the weekend in week 5 there. I've said before that I think the talent on this roster, especially on the offensive side of the football, is going to save the season. And that might sound obvious. Oh, of course, talent. But we've seen a talented team not perform well. I think Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, obviously Saquon Barkley. Yeah, that's a pretty loaded off. You have to be god-awful to mess that up. My opinion, though, even with those guys coming back, my opinion of this Eagles team is that they are a playoff team. I'm hoping they're not a one-and-done playoff team, meaning 1 game and done, not like 1 win and then they're done. My opinion of this team has unfortunately plummeted as far as Super Bowl expectations. I was hoping that you could see Jalen Hurts go out there win you a football game without his two main wide receivers. I was hoping that the Eagles offense would have a good enough game plan to help Jalen Hurts in doing that. I was hoping Jalen Hurts wouldn't turn the football over. That didn't happen. None of those things happened. Their good game plan really didn't even start till the second half against the Bucs, where they're like, "Oh, Saquon, good to see you." Okay, so that for me is a huge hit to the giddy up of my confidence in this Philadelphia Eagles team, really, truly competing for a Super Bowl. Here's the good news, the best news of it all. You're 4 games into the season. There's a lot of football to play. You still got the season in front of you here. A quarter of it's gone, but you still got a lot in front of you. Go ahead and prove that wrong. Prove that you're better than that. Prove that whatever this coaching structure, hierarchy is, whatever this is that you guys have in place, this Philadelphia Eagles team, whatever it is they have in place with Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie overseeing the whole thing, show me that this is going to work. Show me that Kellen Moore will be different. Show me that this offense will be different. Vic Fangio, show me that these guys can actually tackle. Because coming out of week 4, I know a lot of people wanted to talk about Vic Fangio and be pissed at Vic Fangio, but for me, if you're missing 15 tackles, that means that your scheme was good enough to have guys in position to make plays, and boom, they missed. They couldn't tackle. And not all of that was because your defensive line wasn't getting a push. Not all of that was because Baker Mayfield was getting the ball out in 2 seconds at most from behind the line of scrimmage. That's because guys are missing plays. Plays are there to be made, and guys are missing plays. That is inexcusable. So I know the bye week was great, and it came at a perfect time as far as getting some of your big guns healthy with this offense. But I also hope it serves as the proverbial, the metaphorical reset button for a lot of guys on this defense to kind of check themselves. There's one major difference that I'm really pulling for, and it's a hope. It's a prayer, but Cooper DeJean looks like he's going to be the guy taking over in the slot. Quinyon Mitchell, if I'm talking about one of the most optimistic, one of the best surprises, not that I didn't expect him to do well, I didn't expect him to do this well. And Quinyon Mitchell has been fantastic through the first 4 games of the season. Oh, I'm talking about being in a place to make a play. He's always in position to make a play. If his guy is targeted, he is right there to make a play. He's making it as difficult as possible for his targeted receiver to make a play. And this is a rookie. And he's your most dependable defensive player right now. Your most consistent defensive player right now. Your best defensive player, I'd say between him and Zach Bond, those are your 2 best defensive players so far this season. Didn't expect that to be the case, but here we are. Very much excited about the other guys coming back. Excited to see these guys play at the level they've been playing at in Zach Bond and Quinyon Mitchell. But please, when you come back and you face the Browns, 1:00 Sunday, let's start it off on the right foot. Let's start off the post-bye week portion of the schedule, also known as the remaining schedule for the rest of the year here. 4 games in. Let's make that a positive. Okay? That'd be great. Thank you so much. Sixers played last night. A little preseason warm-up there, a little exhibition. I know they played New Zealand. They played New Zealand. For me, in my mind, it'll always be the Guangzhou Long Lions. The team that Ben Simmons hit a 3 against, and the place went bonkers. Maxey had 15 points last night. Joel Embiid did not play. But nice to see the guys out there in the Wells Fargo Center and see the extended highlights of brief play, but good play. Good play by your 76ers. So, yeah, we got a lot to get into today. Also, I want to know your confidence level going into this game tonight with the Phillies. Let me know in the comment section. Do the Phillies win tonight? How do you see it playing out? Pitching duel between Sean Manaea and Aaron Nola? Or do you see Brandon Nimmo hitting a home run and Nick Castellanos hitting a home run and Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper? Will it be a slugfest? Will it be a 10-8 victory tonight for the Phils, or a 10-8 loss, or a 10-0 loss? What do you see happening here? I don't know if this is going to help or hurt your confidence going into tonight's game, but here's the way this shakes out. So the last time Aaron Nola saw the New York Mets, that was in South Philly. He went 4 1/3 in that game. 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 6 runs in total. He was pitching great. 4 scoreless innings. And then he got into his worst start, his worst inning this season, which has been the 5th inning, where his ERA is a full run higher than any other inning that he pitches. He struggles in the 4th inning too. But this was a perfect example of Aaron Nola imploding. Having that one really bad inning, it was a terrible inning. 4 to 3rd, couldn't get out of the 5th. 6 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned runs, was pulled in the 5th inning. Blew up. All of that happening in the 5th inning against the Mets. Now, that was one of his worst starts of the season. His best start of the season happened all the way back in May. So this is quite some time ago against the Mets. 4-hit shutout, 8 strikeouts, 109 pitches. We say it all the time about the Phillies offense. Which offense is going to stand up? What Aaron Nola is going to stand up tonight, okay? Now, after his horrendous start against the New York Metropolitans, he was able to go out there against the Brewers and right the ship. He went 7 innings, allowing 1 run, I believe. Yeah, 1 run. And he had a great bounce-back start. Won the only Phillies game that they had in the final series of the season against the Washington Nationals, so there's something there. But that was 3 starts he had since he faced the Mets. 3 starts he had since he faced the Mets and gave up those 6 runs over 4 1/3 innings of work. Look, for me, it's going to come down to Aaron Nola starting this game and the Phillies being the best possible position they could be if they're going to have their first road game of the postseason. Christopher Sanchez pitched well enough to help you win a game. Obviously, that was my big point takeaway from game 2. Now, with Citi Field, and granted, it is going to be a ruckus crowd at Citi Field tonight. This is the first time they're seeing their New York Mets play in the postseason. This is the first time they're seeing their New York Mets since the 22nd of September. And since then, they've gone and won that 3-game series in 3 games against the Milwaukee Brewers. They stole home field advantage against the Phillies in game 1. They beat Zach Wheeler with Kodai Senga being their opener and David Peterson being their majority pitcher, I guess, whatever you want to call him. They beat Zach Wheeler. And then they gave the Phillies everything the Phillies could handle. But unfortunately for the Mets, they took the loss in game 2. Now they're coming back. It is going to be a crazy atmosphere at Citi Field tonight. And I can't think of anyone other than Zach Wheeler that I'd want pitching in that game than Aaron Nola. The biggest point about Nola going 3rd in the rotation in the postseason isn't that it's not Christopher Sanchez splits. Like, that's the reason. But the best part about this is obviously you're putting Christopher Sanchez in the best spot for him to have success. But Aaron Nola being your number 3 on the road at Citi Field in this particular series, that's a pretty big deal. That is a major factor for this, and it's a huge factor as to why I have any confidence the Phillies are going to win this game tonight. You're in the best possible position. If you're going to tell anyone, all right, you're going to go into Citi Field, you're going to face the Mets, who've been one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in baseball. You're going to take that team on their home turf. You better have one of your best pitchers going. And that best pitcher, in this case, is Aaron Nola. Would you want Aaron Nola to be, you could go into Citi Field, obviously, up possibly 2-0, but that obviously wasn't going to happen with Zach Wheeler dropping game 1. Or you could save Aaron Nola for that road start against the Mets in Citi Field. I'll go for that one. So that's the situation that the Phillies are in. The other thing that makes me feel good about this game tonight is it is after another great offensive output. Regardless of what you make of what players might list off as excuses or what you might term excuses, and I have a big problem with the word excuses because you'll make a good point, or somebody will make a good point about what happens with why a team struggled for whatever reason, and they'll be like, it's not an excuse. It's like, I'm not looking for an excuse. Like, I'm not looking to forgive. Like, do your job. That's the basic thing. But if it's a reasonable explanation, I go, okay, I could see that. Let's see how they do the next time out there. So I listened to Nick Castellanos, and he was talking about how the Phillies, for instance, started to get the bats going in the 6th inning, later goings of the game. They started to get the bats going, if you want to call it get the bats going in game 1, if they ever got going, really. If you talk about it like that, where you talk about these teams going out there and struggling with the lighting and the shadows, I hate it I don't like that. But if players are telling you they're having a problem with that, and look, I am not agreeing with them, but this is what's in their head. They're struggling because of the game time. And when you hear Nick Castellanos talk about that, or you hear the commentators constantly talk about, well, see, look at the shadows here. Look what they're hitting against. Oh, see the batter's eye with that sheen off the ivy in center field. Oh, that's a problem. Oh, see the shadows here. You're not picking up the ball out of Christopher Sanchez's hand. Oh, the shadows. I don't like it. But if this is what's in their head, all right, 508, hopefully it's better. Citi Field, hopefully it's better. But if this is what you're going to call your advantage, couldn't it also be the other team's advantage? And if the other team's not having a problem with the shadows, why are you having a problem with the shadows? Good God. It's not what I like. It's not what I'm championing. It's not what I'm supporting. But I'm saying this is what's in their head. So Nick Castellanos talks about how they're doing better later in the game. All right, fine. Well, now it's going to be later at night, 5:08, different field. Are the shadows going to be better for you? Let's just live with this theory for a second. If that's the case, then I expect Nick Castellanos to keep hitting. I expect Bryce Harper to continue to be not the hottest hitter in the lineup, but the leader. He's got to be the guy that lights the fire. I'd love for it to be Kyle Schwarber. I'd love for him to start this tear. Love for it to happen. Absolutely love for it to happen. Started off game one with the home run. Then that was it. Really the only Phillies offensive player to get anything going for himself in that game. But it's got to be Bryce Harper as the heartbeat. Trey Turner's got to get on base. One of my favorite things about the way the Phillies were scoring runs after the back-to-back home runs is that they were doing it with base hits. They got a perfectly placed triple down the right field line by Bryson Stott to bring home 2 runs to take the lead. Love to see that. Little small ball after the back-to-back home runs, of course, in the 6th inning. Another thing I love is that what has been the Mets' biggest argument for being such a great team is their ability to come back. And they kept coming back in that game. They kept coming in that game. The Phillies, they were down 3-0. They found their way back into the ball game, tied things up, went down, came back, went down, came back, tied up, took the lead, and won it with the walk-off by Nick Castellanos in the bottom of the ninth. If the Mets are never going to say die, the Phillies are never going to say die, then this is going to be one hell of a series, and we're only getting started 2 games in. I have to see the offense get me something early. I would hate to go into the 8th inning last night or yesterday with the Tigers and the Guardians. That was a crazy game. Could you imagine being either one of those fan bases, edging your seat the entire time? Then finally a 3-run homer breaks it open. It's going to be a wild one tonight. One of the things I'm really looking at is obviously just a little bit of comfort. Give me a little bit of comfort early. Now, as far as Sean Manaea goes against this lineup, 2 of his 3 starts came with Whit Merrifield in the lineup. So that's how far back that goes. First faced the Phillies back in May on the 13th. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. Garrett Stubbs came up with the only RBI off him in that one. So that's a fun one. Then on June 8th, he went up there, 3 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 2 homers. Harper hit a home run off him. He was one of the guys that hit a home run off him. And then back on the 21st of September, this was his shining moment. 7 innings, 3 runs, 2 homers. Schwarber and Cassie took him deep, 89 pitches. Both these pitchers have had very good starts and very bad starts against the ball clubs that they're facing tonight. So there is certainly a reason to believe that the offenses could get something going tonight. And it's not going to be is there going to be any offense in this game type of thing? Similar to what you just saw yesterday in the Guardians and the Tigers. But for me, it comes down to Bryce Harper lighting the fire. Comes down to Nick Castellanos continuing his consistency. And then Alec Bohm being back in the lineup. There's a word that's been used with Alec Bohm, and I hate it. And the word is punished. Alec Bohm punished. Was Alec Bohm being punished for being or not being in the lineup in game 2? Punished? I think it's a kind of strong word. Benched, more appropriate. But then he gets 2 at-bats in game 2 anyway. I, in no way, shape, or form, think that Alec Boehm has all of a sudden become bad at baseball. I have no way. Alec Boehm has been terrible for September. I don't think he's been healthy for September, and I don't think he's healthy now. I think he did what a lot of athletes do, which is rush his way back to get back in the lineup and try to help the ball club win. And that, unfortunately, hasn't been the case for him. He hasn't helped the ball club win. He's always been aggressive. I get that. That's his approach. Nick Castellanos is always aggressive. That's always been his approach. But when Alec Boehm is sitting on his butt for 5 innings and then gets his pinch hit appearance and swings at the first thing he sees, that's not smart. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. And here's the other thing. He got a fastball and he missed it. So he was expecting it, sitting on it, missed it, and popped out to third base, to Vientos there at third base in his first pinch hit appearance. I don't have high hopes for what you could see from Alec Boehm tonight. I'm rooting for the best. The idea of him getting benched for game 2, I don't think was shocking, simply because if you look at his September numbers, 170. He hit in the final week of the season 063. The only thing that was surprising about it for me was that Rob Thompson has really stuck with guys through struggles. And the shining example of that, is Nick Castellanos. He is the shining example of that. He stuck with him through the first 2 months of the season. Since then, Nick Castellanos, great. All-star level, great. Alec Boehm has been probably, while he's been healthy, truly your best hitter for the entire season. He worked his way into being your cleanup hitter this year. And he had a really bad month that was, I don't think, at all healthy in September. And he came back and continued to struggle. Game 1 of the series, struggled. Game 2, gets 2 at-bats in the later stages of the game, struggles. Expected to be back in the lineup tonight. I would love to think that Alec Boehm is going to have like this benching or this sit it out for the first 2 at-bats of the game and don't play third. I would think I would hope that would be some kind of shakeup, but I physically don't believe it's there for Alec Boehm, unfortunately. I like the way Rob Thompson handled the situation as far as making sure he had that one-on-one time with Alec Boehm for that to sink in. I like Alec Boehm's approach after the fact when he was asked about not being in the lineup in game 2, said, I'm already past it. I've already forgotten about it. I'm already moving on from it. I've already moved on from it. Fine. All the mental aspects there are great. And Lord knows I think the guy is talented as hell. But right now, I don't think with the hand injury coming back from it, he is 100%. I don't think he's close to 100%. And if he was, I think this would obviously be a different outcome for Phillies consistency when it comes to this lineup. But I have a difficult time believing that hand is anything close to 100% and that Alec Boehm will help this team win. Now, I hope he goes out there tonight and he's 3 for 5 and has 2 home runs, whatever, and helps the Phillies win. But I think that's if you're betting on a home run tonight from Alec Boehm, I wouldn't say that's a good bet. I'd say it's a bad bet. So looking at his numbers through September and the last week of the regular season, so bad to the point of being benched, kind of, for 2 at-bats and 5 innings of being at third base. I think that's a bit of a stretch to say he was punished. I think Rob Thompson's trying to win baseball games. And I think he knows he's not going to get a lot from Alec Boehm. I find it interesting, though, that all of a sudden, after 2 quick at-bats, for a guy that was benched, 2 quick at-bats, he's all of a sudden going to be fine. I heard them talking about it on the national broadcast about needing rest. I think this came up between Adam Wainwright and AJ Przinsky. The Philly rest. Rob Thompson wants to give him rest. They just had a week off. And now they just had a day off. Rest? No. Nothing to do with it. All about performance. All about performance. Which is why it's a little bit more surprising for me to see Alec Bohm back in the lineup. Because just physically, I don't think he's there. Next year, I think he'll be talented. I think he'll hit cleanup, and I think he'll be great. Another all-star appearance, certainly. But this year, no. I hope it all clicks into high gear for him, but I just don't see it happening. Just not yet, unfortunately. I do love, and I'll play this for you guys again, from Nick Castellanos. It could have a reverse effect as well. The boos, right? The boos. And I always think of, especially when you're on the road, I think of Reggie Jackson's line. The old line of they don't boo nobodies. That's something that Bryce Harper reiterates time and time again. But Nick Castellanos talking about boos, making him pull focus, whether it's in his home park or maybe on the road, for instance. I've already highlighted that Citi Field is going to be bumping tonight. Nick Castellanos, once again, on those boos, how they helped him lock in.
What was your reaction to the Bronx cheer and the booing from the fans earlier? And then what adjustment did you make in the game to have better bats?
I don't know. I was just kind of frustrated, so I guess I locked in more.
I know he was frustrated with his own, hometown crowd and all that stuff. But I think when you're on the road, you also want to get an opportunity to shut up the fans. And I think that's exactly what Nick Castellanos and some other guys are going to be focused on. Because, yeah, they are going to be into it. I mean, any stadium that hasn't seen a team that has played as well as the Mets have played, they haven't seen him in 2 weeks, they're going to be excited. So be ready for it tonight. Like Citizens Bank Park, I will say, and this isn't just to compare the Mets and the Phillies and their fan bases or anything like that, but like Citizens Bank Park, when you're watching other stadiums, got the vibe yesterday following the Guardians and the Tigers and certainly the Yankees and the Royals. That was a lot of fun. You really feel that come through the TV screen. I think you're going to feel that again tonight. So I do look forward to it. I got my fingers crossed. All in all, I'm going to pick the Phils tonight. I think the Phillies win tonight. I think they lose tomorrow with Ranger Suarez on the hill. And then I think they got Game 5 at Citizens Bank Park. Get cozy. Get cozy on the edge of your seat, folks, because you're going to be there a while. Two things. One, home field advantage. You split a series 1-1 on the road, and you say you stole their home field advantage. To me, home field advantage is all about the elimination game. That can quickly change the home field advantage. So for me, that doesn't matter as much right now. And if the Mets fans want to bank on the idea of how crazy it's going to be at Citi Field and no way any team wins, no, there's no better atmosphere than Citizens Bank Park and the Phillies we've seen lose. Enough. That Citizens Bank Park in huge games, whether it be week one, whether it was game 1 of this series, whether it was against the Diamondbacks last year, whether it was against the Astros in the World Series, we've seen them lose enough big games at Citizens Bank Park. So home field advantage, would I rather have it than not? Absolutely. But does it guarantee anything? Absolutely not. Also, one thing I didn't talk about yesterday. I don't know where you guys are at in this, but okay, let me just state for the record. The movie Rocky. All right. I love the movie Rocky. And I think most people, whether they're from Philadelphia or not, love the movie Rocky. I remember there was a time where Rocky IV was the most sold sports DVD worldwide. You know why? The reason given? Because he beat up a Russian. That's why. Worldwide. Okay. I love Rocky. I love how it puts Philadelphia on display. I love that in Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone talked about how the city of Philadelphia had a co-starring role in the movie Creed because it was just on display so well in that movie, and really throughout the Rocky series, it's on display quite well. With all that being said, and how much of a fan of Rocky I am, and When I heard Bryce Harper say Rocky would be proud, and also I'm all for pandering. I love it. Pander. I'm all for it. But when I hear Bryce Harper go, hey, Rocky would have been proud, I would go, am I the only one that's cringing when you hear that? Rocky would be proud? Am I the only one? Let me know in the comments, please. Moving on. When your football team is down some pretty great players, okay, like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, right? You want the guys that are there to step up. And although I still see this Philadelphia, this Eagles team going to the playoffs, my hopes and dreams of them truly competing for a Super Bowl are shot. And number one reason for me is coaching. I feel like this is just totally discombobulated. And the number two, like right there, maybe even 1A, is quarterback play. And what really stings about this is that I love Jalen Hurts. And I think Jalen Hurts is wonderful. And I want him to be here for years to come. But if the decision-making continues to be as bad as it's been, if the turnovers continue to happen at the alarming rate that they're happening, it ain't going to happen. And what I was hoping for was that Jalen Hurts, without Devontae Smith and without A.J. Brown, that his coaching staff and he himself would put himself in a great position to beat the Bucs. And that just was not in the cards in every facet of the game other than Saquon Barkley. Coaching, it wasn't there. Defense, it certainly wasn't there. Tackling, as we know, uncovered, it hasn't been there. But I was hoping Jalen Hurts would be the difference. Be good enough to be the difference, to beat the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Be the difference in the game, Jalen Hurts. And unfortunately, he was the difference in the game. I shouldn't say but he was a big difference in the game when it came to that turnover when the Eagles were starting to put something together. That killed all momentum in the game. And it's a huge star to achieve. It's a big feather to put in your cap. When you're down, your best wide receivers, and you still win, that's a huge feather in your cap. It didn't happen. He didn't get that feather. And instead, he really hurt the team with that turnover. And I know you can make excuses for him all you want, but for me, that you just can't try to wind up like that and have that bad a release time when you know the pressure is around you. Even if you think you just dodged a guy, he's still coming. So that was very disappointing. The coaching, obviously, against the Bucs, very disappointing. Tackling, obviously, very disappointing. If this Eagles team can stay healthy, and I know there's no such thing as, well, they got the injuries now, and they'll be healthy. You never know what can happen in the NFL, as we all know. But I look at the rest of the season with these guys, again, hopefully staying healthy, that this offense is just too damn talented to not be able to keep up with even a inconsistent defense. I don't think the defense is this bad. I don't think they're as bad as they were against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think they're going to be as bad against the Cleveland Browns, for instance. You've had a week to regroup, maybe reassess, certainly come out fresh. The Browns are going to be, look, I would love to say that the Eagles are going to go in there and just wallop the Browns, but they're going to have a chip on their shoulder after the way they just took the L to the Commanders. I don't think they're that bad a football team. I don't think they're a very good football team. I don't think Deshaun Watson is a particularly good quarterback. I haven't thought that really ever, to be honest with you. But this is going to be a great opportunity for the Eagles to go on the road after their bye week, get their win, and show everybody else that they're a lot better than a 2-2 football team. My biggest problem with this Eagles team is that they've had a lot of opportunities. And I know last year was last year, but does it look like you're watching the same team? Because to me, it looks like you're watching the same team from last year. I know a lot of the problems from last year carried over to this year. The only way those problems go away or those thoughts go away is with convincing victories. Controlling games. One of the biggest things I'll point out from last year to this year is that you look at last year and you won 2 games by 10 or more points. 2 games. One of those games, unfortunately, was against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your first one, actually, last year. This one hasn't been great. It's been Just like that. Show that you can control a game. If Saquon Barkley's touches are going through the roof, as of right now, so be it. Maybe you'll be winning in other ways later in the season. But if he is the guy behind the glass that is, in case of emergency, break it and pull out Saquon Barkley, well, then so be it. That's what has to happen. The offensive line, here's what I know. The offensive line, and I think we all know, the offensive line is coached well enough, and they are good enough that if you just get them in front of Saquon Barkley can make plays happen for you. Why that wasn't the strategy 2 weeks ago against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't know. Should they have helped out Jalen Hurts? Yeah. Should Jalen Hurts have had as much to do? No. He should have really alleviated a lot of that pressure. I also wish Jalen Hurts was up to the task, but unfortunately he wasn't. But his coaches certainly did not put him in a best position. And it's not just about the individual play, the quarterback. What are you doing as a team? The coaching, the philosophy, the game plan. What are you doing as a team to try to come back and get something going? Because you had this going for you defensively speaking. This is the number one reason why I thought that Jalen Carter was going to have a great game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You talk about cracking the code. You talk about getting on the same page as everybody else. You talk about fulfilling the expectation of a first-round pick and the potential that we had seen. This is the game he was coming off of before he went into Tampa. After that, I mean, you didn't say anything close to that. Against the Saints, you saw a guy that looked like a pro. You saw a guy that looked like he was going to make a Pro Bowl. Now, here's the guy that knows nobody's coming to save him. And he didn't see that happen against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A non-factor. And your corners did no favors to your defensive line. The option of press coverage there that Vic Fangio talked about, they opted not to have press coverage in most cases. No adjustment was made. Instead of having your corners have the option of being on the line or not, you didn't take it away from them. Say, yeah, get on the line. Do you not see what they're doing here? Do you not see what's happening? Baker Mayfield doesn't have the ball in his hand for more than 1.8 seconds. That means you got to get up on the line. So that again comes down to coaching. All in all, I again feel like the offense is just too damn good to not be a playoff offense. But defensively, I think that's where the most concerns lie. 4 weeks into the Vic Fangio era, a lot of these guys are underachieving. A lot of these guys are over pursuing in terms of tackles. The technique is bad. We talk about situational football with the offense a lot. Jalen Hurts bombing the ball downfield when it's unnecessary, whatever the case might be. Situationally, tackling, you don't need the big hit. You just need the stop. That's what these guys have to be thinking at this point, especially in the modern NFL, where you got to be cautious about how you're hitting anybody. How you grew up playing isn't the way the game's played anymore. That's got to be tough for a defensive player. Why the Eagles are having the most problems with it, I don't know. But if you're going to push one button to make one change, I think that one change is going to be what Nick Cassidy, or should I say Nick Cassidy? I think that one big change is going to be what Cooper DeJean hopefully brings to the slot position, because I don't think there's any question. Your best bet right now, your two outside corners, that ain't changing. And Quentin Mitchell, it's not going to be Isaiah Rodgers, Darius Slay, Quentin Mitchell, and then inside Cooper DeJean. Let's see what the young man's got. Hey, let me tell you about the great people at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase. MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. Use promo code FARZI. Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. So download the MyBookie app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus. Also, take advantage of all the things you can bet on with MyBookie. You can bet on the world of baseball. You can bet on the world of basketball. You can bet on the world of football, of course. You can even bet on the world of television and politics. How? Check it out at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code FARZI. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. You want to go up to Citi Field tonight? You want to support your Phillies? You want to take away from the Mets' home field advantage at Citi Field? Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, buy your tickets on the Game Time app, use promo code FARZI for $20 off your first purchase. You can also use it for concerts and comedy shows. That's concerts and comedy shows with the Game Time app. So they also have tickets available for an hour after the event starts. So let's say you want to go see that headliner. You might miss the opener. You might miss the middle, but you'll see that headliner at a great discounted rate on the Game Time app. Don't forget to use Game Time Picks as well. That filters out all the fluff so you know exactly what you're buying when you buy it at the best possible price. The best seats at the best prices when you toggle that option with Game Time Picks. Also, all-in pricing. Use this feature and you know exactly what you're buying. No sticker shock when you go to check out. How do these $20 tickets become $30? What the? No, not on the Game Time app when you toggle the all-in pricing feature. And how about the Game Time guarantee? If you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, Game Time app will refund your account 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Terms apply. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this fine Tuesday morning ahead of Game 3 of the NLDS. James Alexander, hello. I'm expecting a complete game today by Aaron Nola. Like an actual complete game? As long as our batters are hitting the ball, we have momentum. In the playoffs, I don't believe in momentum anymore. I really wish I did because that would make me feel a lot better about tonight. I feel good about tonight. I don't feel great about tonight. Like, I don't feel like, oh, yeah, they got this. You know, I think we all want that feeling of, oh, yeah, okay, they got this. Do you have that feeling? I don't have that feeling. I'd love to have that feeling, but I don't have that feeling. K. Raleigh. What's up, Crowley? Sixers won by 55 without Embiid and George. Laugh out loud. They might have a team now. I am very excited for the Sixers regular season. You guys should know by now that when I look at the Sixers, the way I look at the Sixers is have fun in the regular season, enjoy it all, but if Joel Embiid is not 100% healthy going into the playoffs, it all means nothing. If I could ask one thing from the Sixers regular season, if I could ask one thing, it's put me in a mindset where a Tyrese Maxey and Paul George led Sixers team can sustain as great as they would be with Joel Embiid as far as just regular season wins. Give me enough confidence that if Joel Embiid's out a month or whatever, that you guys will sustain and stay well above 500. And give me confidence. Here's the great ask. Give me confidence that you can win a first-round playoff series without JoJo. So be a top 3 seed is what I'm asking. And give me the same confidence I would have against the Sixers back a couple of years ago playing the Nets in the first round. Give me that type of confidence. That's what I need. Please and thank you. But other than that, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of the regular season. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey and Kelly Oubre, who I wanted to make sure the Sixers brought back, and they did. Actually having a backup center. Andre Drummond's working on his 3. That's fun. All right, Andre Drummond. 6 of 3s. Even though I want you just to rip boards. Maxey was shooting the lights out. Imagine with George and Embiid. I know, I can't wait. IBH, good morning. Eric Wisniewski, what's going on, man? Is Hurts mentally coming back? I hope so. G.I. Zoe, Sports Radio. Hello, yo, Farzy, yo, G.I. How you doing? Come on, man. Tell us who the Philly fanatic. Sean Kilrain. Hello. Richard Hess. Hello. No confidence with Gopher Ball Nola on the mound. 4 games and gone. Hey, look, Richard, I'd love to dispute it. I'd love to be like, no, wait, but I can see it. I can see it. 2 best defensive players, Agony Maddox and CJGJ. What? April. Morning, April. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sean. Yeah. Sidney Brown. The practice window has been open on Sidney Brown and Anaya Smith. Let's go, boys. Sean Kilrain. I see us winning 5-3. Austin Hayes, Cody Clemens come through for the Phils. Nola serves up a solo meatball, Farzi. Yeah, I could see Nola giving up 2 long balls. As long as they're solo shots, I'm fine with it. Javonte Maddox, best corner, man. All right. T-Bro, I need big bucks, no whammies. Start with Knowles tonight. I like when you tee me up for the references to get me sidetracked. Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. Finn's up 13. Let's go Phillies. I hate the Mets. I hate the Padres. I hate the Dodgers. I hate the Yankees. Let's kick the poop out of the bleeping asses. Okay, thank you, Finn's up. Phillies are the only team in this town that deserves any respect. Okay. IBH Nola has been Jekyll and Hyde all year. Hopefully Hyde didn't make the trip to New York. I agree. Yuki Matsui, hello again. The Mets hitting approach so much better than the Phillies. Stop chasing or go home. Yeah, I'd love for the Phillies to stop chasing. Thank you for that. QB! Hello, QB. Good morning, sunshines. Mike Fuji. Nola has to step up, be lights out, more consistent at the plate. Stop chasing bad. Like, chasing is the number one thing we're all terrified of. We're terrified of that, Nuke. We're terrified. Hopefully get good Nola tonight. Like, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Jordan. What version of Aaron Nola are we going to get tonight? What version of the Phillies lineup are we going to get tonight? Yuki, hello. The Mets only got one good lefty batter in Nimmo. Strom really needed. Well, here's the deal. Bullpens. You bring up Matt Strom. Phillies bullpen, what are they at now? Is it 10 runs in 6 innings? Hold on. Yeah, Phillies bullpen, 10 runs in 6 innings. So that's not good. Edwin Diaz for the New York Mets, 130 pitches over his last 5 appearances. So we've got some reason to believe that neither bullpen is really going to get it done in this series. So just keep hitting, boys. Godfrey Wilson, Phillies suck. Thank you. If they lose the series to the Mets. Oh, okay. Hold on. This is a continued comment. Thank you, Godfrey. Jason A., hello. Morning. This is Nola's biggest game tonight. Absolutely. Rocky was awesome in Rocky 4. That's great. Nola in a playoff game. I'm on my way to see you. Thank you, Sean Gillespie. April, my favorite part was them interviewing Stott after the game, and Poppy kept introducing himself. Like, bro, any baseball fan could probably place your voice. Yeah, Poppy didn't pick the Phillies. Jeter and that A-Rod guy. He picked the Phillies. They picked the Phillies. Thank you, Sean. Definitely cringe the Rocky and Philly references. Yeah. Ivan Ortiz, 5.5 over under strikeouts. Nola, I'm going to go over for Nola tonight. Yeah, I think even in the September start, I think he had 7 strikeouts, if I'm not mistaken. He had 8 strikeouts back in May. And then in the 4-inning fair, he had 7 strikeouts. Yeah. 4 1/3, 7 Ks. So I would take the over that. Godfrey, the mighty New Orleans Saints has fallen like the great Babylon in Rome. Was anybody really buying the Saints? I wasn't buying the Saints. I mean, how do you just let Zach Bond go? Am I right? Anyway. I still feel like I'm watching the 2023 Eagles. Jason A., so do I. Go Sixers! Nothing has changed because Pizza Hut, Nick, somehow is still here. Pizza Hut, what? Nick Sirianni? Is that what you're talking about? How dare you insult Pizza Hut? I don't eat Pizza Hut now, but as a kid, I ate Pizza Hut. They had the book it thing where you got the free pizza. My mom read the books and I just ate the pizza. My mom got better at reading while I got fatter. That's basically how that worked. Jason A., Eagles worry me more than any Phillies team. Yeah. Oh, even the Flyers will be better this year. I'm really looking forward to the Flyers. Matvey Michkov, let's go. Are we going Michkov mania or Matvey mania? Mania. What are we doing there? Trade slate at the deadline, yeah. Person Orso, how do you feel about over 4.5 hits? I feel good about over 4.5 hits. Yeah, I think over 4.5 hits tonight. Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to that morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars. SkyMotorCars.com. Oh, my goodness gracious. The only thing that matters. The only thing that matters. Phillies, Mets tonight. That's what matters. 5:08 start time. For the record, love the 5:08 start time. I'll say it again. Love the 5:08 start time. I think the Phillies get the victory tonight. I think the Phillies win tonight I think they win tonight 4-2. I think Nola gives you 7 innings, 2 runs. I think the bullpen comes in, and I think the bullpen actually has themselves a very solid 2 innings. Sean Manaea, I see going 6 innings, 3 runs. I think the Phillies get 1 more run off that bullpen. That's what I see working out tonight for the Phils. I don't have any. I mean, for the confidence that I'm at right now with Aaron Nola, I have 0 for Ranger Suarez winning against the Mets in Game 4, and I think they're coming home for Game 5. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, I see the Phillies winning tonight 4-2. I think Nola is playoff Nola, does a hell of a job, and then they come back home for Game 5. That's the way. After Game 4, of course. That's the way I see that one playing out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where yours truly brings you your Phillies postcasts and your 76ers postcasts as well. For your pre- and post-game Eagles needs, make sure you like and subscribe on Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. I'll catch you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Philadelphia's YouTube channel after the Phillies and Mets play Game 3 of the NLDS in Flushing, New York's Citi Field. See you tonight.